Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm setting up the live right now.
Okay,
I can
cool.
hear you though. Hold on.
Okay.
I got you. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm trying to get this set up once again.
Okay.
Okay. I can't even get my stuff right. Trade line.
So,
Tag you in this. Unbelievable. Okay. I think I got everything.
okay.
All right. Unbelievable.
Okay. Okay.
Setting up.
I'm in the car trying to keep this charger cord in this phone.
Okay.
So, so if my phone dies, I'll probably switch to I'll have a risk to text you, and I'll probably switch to her Zoom or something.
Okay. That's the problem. We get it going. Hey. Okay. So let's go.
Uh-oh.
We are here. And yes, we're all set. So, everybody, this is my cousin, my
Hello.
twin
Hello.
almost, if you will.
Right. Hello. Hello. Hello,
Hello,
people.
everybody. So, this is Jarron. Jarron has been, well, I'm going to let Jarron tell you about himself and about his profession. Go ahead, Jarron.
Okay. My name is Jarron Clark. I'm a mental health clinician, educator, and advocate. Born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. Now residing in Pomona, California. Currently serving as a student advisor and student support services official at a performing arts school in Glassell Park. I also have 16 years of mental health experience in the field of mental health, seeing children and families dealing with all kinds of issues related to mental illness.
Awesome. So, you and I talked already beforehand, and I was explaining to you, um, I've been seeing a few things going on
Hmm.
with everything with the quarantine.
Hmm.
So, um, unfortunately, we've been listening. A lot of people listen to the news, and you
Right.
listen to a lot of stuff going on. And there's a lot of, I think, fear being projected out there to people.
Certainly.
I think that's heavily projected to people due to either just various information, whether it's good information, bad information, or just even the straight wrong
Right.
situation.
Right.
Um, People have had a shock because we've had, I touched on it a little bit earlier today, where, we've had daily routines: get up, get the kids to school, or we just get
Right.
up, get ourselves
Hmm.
showered, go to work, come home. We go out, we have fun, we have our daily routines.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, that became to an abrupt halt. So, what would you say to people that, they probably never had to, well, none of us had to deal with anything like
Right.
this.
Right.
So, with all the fear and everything that people may not even be experiencing fear, but maybe a little bit of anxiety, a little shock, a little overwhelmed. I know it's been a month that people are still dealing with stuff. So, what
Hmm.
kind of thing would you, say to people or encourage people even when they're dealing with those types of deals?
The issue related to COVID-19 has definitely been an adjustment for a lot of people. Like you said, there have been, disruptions in daily routines from, like you said, getting up, going to work, getting the kids to school, going back home. Now we've had to, not only myself, but no, a lot of other people have had to adjust to working from home, homeschooling, which a lot of
Yes.
parents may not be used to. Um,
Guilty.
you, right? Parents uh, have the ability and the um the asset to drop their kids off at school and be taught by teachers.
Yeah.
You know, the students have the teachers in their proximity. They can see their teachers every day. A lot of students are missing their favorite teachers, favorite instructors. You know,
Yes.
and now the parents have to take on the role of educator if there is
Yes.
no if there's no distance learning being provided by the educational institution. And parents who are working from home have to adjust their schedules as well. So
Yes.
um, definitely try your best for the parents who are working from home and have to do homeschooling too. Try your best to develop a schedule that works for you
Mhm.
and for your children. You'll probably have to continue getting up maybe an hour before your children
Mhm.
just to set up, a makeshift classroom like I had to do.
Right.
Um, you have to get up an hour early to set up a makeshift classroom. That next 30 minutes, take the time to wake your kids up, give them breakfast, get them dressed, um, and go ahead and get them whatever materials they need for school. You can have them get the materials for school and get them rolling.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely check in with the school principal or administrators or anyone that's in charge of providing education for your child
Right.
to see if there is a way to access distance learning via the internet. I
Mm.
know there's been a big issue with some students and some parents don't have internet at their house,
That's
the in,
true.
or the internet is not as easily accessible to them.
Yeah.
So there have been many platforms and many resources for free internet. Look into those. I actually have compiled a resource list, and if anybody that's on Zoom or on Facebook, if you guys put your email addresses in the comments section or the chat
Mhm.
section, if you're on Zoom, I can get the resource list out to you, and I'll actually add some resources for free internet
Awesome.
for the
Awesome.
students. Um,
Awesome.
so yeah, definitely try to develop a working schedule from morning up until dinner time.
Right.
So maybe from like let's say 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Try to develop a working schedule that works for you and your children. Not saying that everything will go smoothly every day, but at least it's a start.
True. I know just for myself,
Hmm.
I know for me, I'm already a work at home mom.
Right.
So I've been working from home already for about 2, 3 years.
Hmm.
So it wasn't such a huge adjustment. It was more of an adjustment for me because I had to kind of shift some stuff
Right.
where, you know, the hours that Mari was in school,
Yeah.
you know, I could focus on my work. I could go run and do whatever I needed to do and be home
Right.
in time. And I had
Hmm.
all my stuff done. Now it's a little bit different. It's like sometimes when he's online doing classwork, that's when he's online doing classwork and I could focus on my thing. But
Hmm.
then sometimes, um, he just needs my help and I have to do my work later. But I work for myself, so I could do that.
Right.
But there are people that they're working for other companies.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They got deadlines,
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
And there are people that, their job said, okay, you still got to work, but you got to work from home. How would you,
Hmm.
would you still think that would work for them? And what do you suggest for them?
For the parents that have to still work for other companies from home, if you have any type of additional support, and I know that may be hard to find during this time of quarantine,
Hmm.
for the parents that have their children in daycare for those smaller children, hopefully those resources are still open and
Yeah.
available. The chances are slim to none, depending upon how many people are already in the house. If
Mhm.
there are maybe if there's a family of three, if you have a family of three, if you have a supportive relative that you trust who is able to come and care for the children while you're working,
Mhm.
that may be an option.
That's true.
Yeah, that
Um,
that that may be an option.
that's true. That might help. Okay. Um, Now my next question would be, you know, I know there's certain things I know I deal with, and I know
Right.
some people deal with some greater. So I know
Yeah.
I sometimes have a bit of bad anxiety. I get real anxious sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like when I had Centuria, yes, last Saturday, she was
Yeah.
teaching us breathing techniques and things like
Hmm.
that. I know that helps. But then there are people that deal with anxiety already. They
Right.
deal with depression already. There are people
Hmm.
that are honestly suicidal.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
people that are already dealing with things pre-quarantine. They were already
Definitely.
dealing with
Definitely. Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
This
Hmm.
did not help. This made it
Right.
worse.
Right.
They
Exactly.
probably can't
Exactly.
get to their therapist, or
Exactly.
they don't
Yep.
have the access like that. What things would you suggest for those people?
For people who already struggle with mental illness, be it depression, anxiety, or any other mental health issues,
Mhm.
if you can, if possible, try your best to get in contact with your therapist to see if they can provide telehealth for you.
Okay.
That would
What's
that would
telehealth?
be the that would telehealth meaning mental health services via Zoom or Google Hangouts or Google Meet. There
Okay.
is a HIPAA compliant version of Zoom that I know a lot of my friends in the mental health field are using to see their clients.
Okay.
So if you already, like I said, if you already have a therapist, try your best to get in contact with your therapist to see if they can provide telehealth. If you do not have a therapist, like I said, I have a resource list and it has mental health resources on it.
Good.
So I will be providing that list to anyone that sees this live or participates in this live. Just make sure you put your email address in the comment section or the chat section if you're on Zoom.
Mhm.
You can seek services through LA County Department of Mental Health. They're still providing services. They're not shut down.
Right.
Um, Also, find other ways to dispel or work through the depression. Either if it's exercise, if it's I know we can't go outside like we want to and maybe go to the park, but you can like walk around your neighborhood, possibly if it's safe or if you feel it's safe. Um,
Mhm.
if you do not feel safe with coming outside due to your depression and your anxiety, there are a whole lot of different apps like the Daily Burn app, um, and that offers like different free exercise courses.
Okay.
Um, and you can find exercise videos online to exercise. I know there are different dance instructors in the LA area that are providing free dance classes, like Zumba and different other types of dance classes via Instagram, um, or Facebook, or um, possibly Twitter. So um,
Okay.
also, I know a lot of people who may like to color. There are
Mhm.
online or digital coloring apps that you can look into to
Yes,
kind of ease that anxiety. Art is an excellent form
it
of
is.
reducing anxiety, an excellent strategy for reducing anxiety through art. Um, Digital coloring. If you have any um, musical prowess, or if at one time you picked up an instrument or have played an
Mm.
instrument before,
Mhm.
maybe it's
Mhm.
time to pick up that instrument again.
Okay.
You know,
Start playing that guitar.
yeah, play the
Start beating
guitar,
them drums. Get on
drums. Yep,
that piano, y'all.
piano if you play piano. If you
But
do
they got
not,
them apps. Look, everybody got. Most people got an Apple phone,
right,
or they
right.
have the apps where they do that, right?
Yeah, they have like drumming apps, and if you have an instrument like a guitar or a violin, they have tuner apps where you could tune your instrument, and maybe it's time to pick up that instrument again to suit some of those negative feelings. And
Right.
of course, if anyone sees this and they are suicidal, you can definitely contact the LA County Department of Mental Health. The
Mhm.
number is 800-854-7771. Jay, you could put that in the chat
I'm gonna put
section of
it down
Zoom
right now.
or the comment section. 800 eight
So
five
what?
four
800
7771.
854
7771.
7771. And this is the hotline for
That is
mental.
LA County Department of Mental Health, the PMRT or Psychiatric Response Emergency Response Team.
Okay.
Yeah.
County, Los Angeles County Mental Health
Yeah.
Emergency Response
PMRT. Mm-hmm.
team. Okay. So I'm gonna post that for you guys right there. Okay. So here's the other question I have. Well, my son, and I know I'm not the only one,
Mm-hmm.
but Amari's
Mm-hmm.
autistic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
not that I
Yeah.
don't look at that as a mental issue personally. I look at it as
Mm-hmm.
just he learns a little bit
Mm-hmm.
different.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
there's some of
Definitely.
us who have kids who have special needs.
Yeah.
You know, we
Mm-hmm.
have kids that have autism. We have kids that have
Right.
ADHD, ADD. We
Yeah.
got kids out
Mm-hmm.
there who are, have Down syndrome. They have different
Mm-hmm.
issues.
Right.
And,
Right.
some kids, even just being quarantined like they are, can get
Yeah.
violent.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
how do
Mm-hmm.
parents deal with that? How do you make it where your there's a balance for your kids and not have the
Mm-hmm.
I know we could go outside for a few minutes and they say go outside for essentials
Mm-hmm.
and maybe
Yeah.
get a breath of fresh air for a second, but sometimes it's not enough.
Right.
But what would
Yeah.
you do in those type of situations?
If you have a child with special needs,
Mhm.
obviously, um, you know what their needs are. And I'm just saying, I'm not just saying you, but anybody who has a child with special needs. Um, Patience is definitely a requirement.
Amen.
Um, and you may have to augment the scheduling
Yeah.
of certain things. Maybe scale back your work schedule, maybe about 30 minutes or so. Take that extra time for your child. Um, Play games if they're, depending on the level of functioning, if your child has autism. Color. Um, listen to music. I know that for children with autism and certain auditory and sensory issues, um, they gravitate more toward what we call low fidelity music or
Mhm.
lo-fi music. So mellow music, chill music, jazz, um, lo-fi hip hop. Music that's not so loud to where it'll be overwhelming for them to listen to.
Yes. Mhm.
Try do more soothing activities with them. Um, like I said, coloring. If they like to go outside, maybe go for a walk with them for about 15 minutes.
Mhm. Mhm.
If the sun is not too bright and if the wind isn't too blowing too hard,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely you're gonna have to do some adjustments to your work schedule, and depending on what the child responds to, that's what you go with. Go with their strengths. If
Mhm.
you're trying to implement something new, just know that it's going to take some time, and
Yeah.
they may not respond immediately to it.
That's true. It
That's
does
like
take.
if you're playing a certain style of music, it may not be too loud for you, but it may be too
Mhm.
loud for them. So you may have to
That's
switch it.
true.
You know.
That's true.
So
That's true.
definitely take some time to augment uh, the scheduling. Um, if your child is or was in therapy, definitely get in contact with their therapist. Review any strategies that the therapist has went over with you previously in session. Um, Obviously, use the strategies that work the most or that are the most efficient for your child.
Right.
I would
Those things.
suggest that as well.
Okay. I'm sorry. Thought I got a question. Sorry about that.
No,
But
it's okay.
um, okay. And I know with like And I'm speaking just my experience. I don't know what everybody else is doing,
Hmm. Hmm.
but I know just like with Amari, I have he loves getting on the computer and the iPad. I do know
Right.
he loves to do
Right.
that. But
Right.
then there's other issues, of course, I deal with. Like I said, he has epilepsy.
Yeah.
I can't have him on there for hours and hours and hours on the
Yeah.
time like he
Definitely.
would love to
Definitely.
be, and I know he
Hmm.
would love to be,
Hmm. Yeah.
but I have to kind of keep changing it up for him. So there are
Yeah.
things I know
Yeah.
that he and I do. He has an air hockey game that one of his aunties gave to him, so we'll play that. Or
Good. Good.
we
Yeah.
go out sometimes, or we'll
Hmm.
just sit here and talk, or he'll watch the TV.
Hmm.
And then, like, I know
Right.
one thing that we did that made his whole day. I know he's been talking about it forever, but late Saturday night, because I don't take him out to no late movie at all. I'm like, we
Yeah.
catching an early
Yeah.
matinee. But what we did was he was hanging out with my god sister and my niece, and they were watching something and everything. And so he came in the room. He's like, "Mom, are we gonna watch a movie?" And I had already promised, and at that time I was like, "We're gonna go to bed." But then I was like, "No, I made a promise." And so
Yeah.
we curled up in the bed, in my bed, got our blanket, and I ordered Sonic the Hedgehog. And I turned off all the lights, and we
Nice.
cuddled up together,
Nice.
and it was just like
Yeah.
our own personal little movie time.
Yeah. That's
So
cool.
that could be
That's
another
cool. Yeah.
suggestion.
Definitely.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there
Definitely
are
take.
activities he
Definitely
and I
take that
love
extra
doing.
time for it. Right. Right. Yeah. Definitely
Yeah,
take the time to do those things that your child with special needs enjoys doing. Even if you end up doing it for an hour or 2 hours, that'll make their day. Whatever they enjoy doing, do that,
right,
because it's gonna ease that anxiety, that social anxiety that comes with already being isolated. But
yeah,
then you're in a place where you're not able to go out and maybe see that special friend because that special friend is at school.
right,
You
right,
know what I mean? So you
and
can't you can't see your best friend, and your best friend may not have access to the internet to where they're able to contact you, or they may not have, or you may not have their phone number, or they may not have your parents' phone number either.
right,
You know,
right.
so excuse me. So definitely take the time to do those things that your child with special needs enjoys doing.
I think what helped him even more was when we were doing starting to do online classes.
Yeah,
And when he got to see his other classmates, he was like, "Oh my God." And
yeah,
he
yeah.
just kind of went buck wild about that. So I do think anybody who has been able to do the online classes with their children and
Right. Hmm.
interacting with the school and things
Yeah.
like that, if you have been able to do that, I think it may have been, I'm not sure how everybody is with other teachers and kids, but I know
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
Amari, you would have thought he wakes up at 6 in the morning. I have to
Right.
usually fight this boy to get up in the morning, but he wakes up early and he's like, "Mommy, I got to get ready for school." And I'm like, "Baby, the class is not until 11. You
Yeah.
got 5 hours."
Good. Excellent. That's
But
excellent.
he's excited
That's
about it.
excellent.
So those
Yeah,
are,
that's
I,
good.
I think, are good things.
That's
So
good.
I'm gonna
That's
shift
good.
this a little bit because we've talked a lot
Okay.
about families. We've talked a lot already about married and all that other. Well, not a lot about married. I'm gonna talk in that in a second too.
Hmm.
But I know there's some single people out there.
Hmm.
They live by themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I know there's some single people that hey, they are in happy. Ain't nobody
Yeah.
bothering them. I'm like
Hmm.
took a pink.
Hmm. Right.
However, there's some single people that are the total opposite. You know,
Hmm.
not really being able to do what they like to do, going out, hanging out, or whatever they do. How what would they? What would you suggest for them?
Well, what was the question? I'm sorry, I had a little background noise. What was your
That's
question?
okay. People who are
Or the question?
single.
Uh huh.
So some single people are because some single people are okay with all of this right now. They don't mind being at home.
Right.
They are, and I probably if I didn't have Amari, I might be one of those single people too. I like my personal space.
Right.
I'm not going to be front about it. I love being in
Hmm.
my own world. I will create stuff for me, and I'm just as happy and content with it. But there's some people who don't.
Right.
They can't handle that. They need constant people
Hmm.
around them. They constantly need people. How
Hmm.
what would you suggest for those people? Jay, you hear me? Uh oh. Uh oh. Hello, Jerron. Hello. Hello.
Okay, maybe that was her.
There it goes. Okay. We
Yo.
lost you for a minute. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Did
Okay.
you hear me
The
now?
question. Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, cool. All right. The question was for single people, who really enjoy being in the company of others. That's your
Yes,
question, right?
that's my question.
Um, keep in contact with those closest to you the best way you know how.
Okay.
Uh, right now, it would be via phone, text, or Zoom. Try to arrange a happy hour. With your friends that are closest to you. You guys everybody hop on Zoom, chill, talk, eat, play music, check in with each other, see how everybody's doing, find out if your friends need anything, let your friends know if you need anything. Um, arrange a day and time for you know uh, blessing box drop offs or any essential drop offs. Arrange a day and time, for either for your friends to pull up on you and bring you some stuff that you need, or for you to pull up on your friends and take them some stuff that they need. Just try to stay in contact the best way possible, and as often as possible. People are dying.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of families are being affected by just the death and losses due to COVID-19.
Yeah.
Um, call your loved ones, check on them, tell them you love them, tell them you're praying for them, tell them that you're thinking about them. You know,
Mhm.
um, yeah, yeah, that's the best way possible. Best thing I could think of for single people that would rather be in the company of others, but may not necessarily want to be in a relationship right now, but they want to be in the company of others and their friends, and it's hard right now because they're not able
Yeah.
to due to quarantine.
Yeah. And you touched on something else that I wanted to mention. Like, with COVID-19, there are people passing,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them are passing, and it is not from COVID-19. I know a couple of
Right.
people
Yeah.
who have passed.
Me too.
I know people that have passed from other illnesses,
Yeah. Me too. Yep.
and in just the past couple of weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't have what we would normally do. Usually, you do a homegoing service,
Yeah.
for people,
Yeah.
and because of the sanctions that are in now, you can't do dinner more
Right.
and things of that nature. People really
Yep.
can't have a funeral service.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that are dying of this illness, of this virus, and they're dying by themselves, and they can't be with their families and things like
Right.
that. How that I know could be very difficult because
Yeah.
even
Definitely.
just going through it and being there was already hard, but I couldn't even imagine
Right.
how much harder when you can't be there to say your final goodbyes
Mm-hmm.
or things like that. What would you say for people to do that are dealing with that type of situation?
Well, I happen to know a couple of people who are in that situation.
Okay.
I've had some friends and some loved ones who've lost some family members due to other illnesses.
Mhm.
And the things related to like the services and arrangements are all up in the air right now and have to be rearranged due to the sanctions of COVID-19. What I would say for the family members who are experiencing this loss, do the best you can.
Yeah.
Do whatever you're able to do within reason and according to the sanction. If um, the funeral home says that they're only allowed to be this number of people, at the service, then that's
Mhm.
something that you'd have to abide by. I know it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna be hard, but
Yeah.
in keeping with the sanction and keeping with the propensity and ability to keep everybody safe, just
Yeah.
by those sanction rules. Um, for the friends or the family members of the loved one that is deceased, check on your people.
Yeah.
Check on the family member that's experiencing the loss. A dear friend of mine lost a family member maybe the week after the
Oh
week
wow.
the week after everything really started,
Wow.
and so I'm checking on him on a weekly basis and checking on him and his family just to see how they're doing. Letting them know I'm praying for them.
Mhm.
Um, Another thing I would suggest for the friends and family members of the person who is deceased, get the
Mhm.
get the person's address. Your friends, your family members, get their address. Send them a card. Send them a card of sympathy and of love to let them know that you're thinking about them and that you're praying for them.
Okay.
So
And
check on your peoples. I got word last night that a dear friend of mine who I've known since college passed away, not due to COVID-19, but due to another illness.
I'm so
Got
sorry,
got
Jay.
got the word last night, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, man.
I'm so sorry, Jay.
So
I
yeah,
you
and
know.
we're all not we're all experiencing some form of loss, either directly or vicariously. So just check on your peoples for the ones who know of friends and relatives who have lost someone. Check on your people, see how they're doing.
It's important. And I think
It's
it's even
important.
more important now than it probably has been before.
Yeah,
We're
definitely,
doing the things
because
that I
people
think I said it a while ago,
yeah.
like
hmm
we're doing things now that we should have been doing.
right,
You
right,
know,
right.
we should have already been calling each other. Like, I just want to say, hey, what you doing? Okay, you all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool, bye.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's that quick, just a text. Are you breathing? You straight? You good?
Right,
Something like
right, right,
that. Those little things. And then especially just even with the elderly, you
right.
know,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
really check on them because
Definitely.
it's like,
Please, yeah. Please check on your elders.
man,
Um, check on grandma. Check on uncle. Check on papa.
hmm
Check on auntie that may not be getting around so well. Call them and see
right.
what you need. If you
Even
need
the
to
mean
check on
ones,
something,
check on
or
them.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And we all had that one auntie or
Oh yeah.
uncle or whatever that
Oh,
you like, ooh, you
right.
got that one. All of us have had them.
Yeah.
Still check
Yeah.
on them because
Check
they're
on
all
your people, man.
important.
You have to. It's important. It's important. And another thing that we haven't touched on is self care.
Yes,
You know, we need to check in with ourselves too. Make
man.
sure make sure we're eating right. Make sure we're exercising as much as possible. Take a walk around the kitchen, not to the refrigerator, but take a walk around the house. Walk up those stairs,
Yes,
have stairs. Um, me and Eris, we were doing dance class with Debbie Allen a few weeks ago. That was pretty cool.
nice.
I've been doing movement lab with my kids through their school. In the middle of working, doing movement lab and exercise with them. It's been really fun. So make sure you're getting enough sleep. I know you have to work from home, but yeah, you might want to keep that same bed schedule. So if you go to bed at 10, and like you would if you would have to get up in the morning and actually physically go to work, go to bed
Yes,
at 10, even though you might be working downstairs.
this is true.
So be
If you
consistent.
can,
Right, right. Yeah, if you can, right. Be
if you
consistent.
can, because I know that don't work for me.
Right, right, right. If you can, right. Be consistent with your self care regimen.
Yeah,
Definitely, definitely.
that's definitely more. I have actually a couple of I have my mentor and I have my coach. Both of them tell me the exact same thing: is take care of you
Speak up,
first.
speak up just a little bit
Can
so I
you
can
hear
hear you.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I had my coach and I've had my mentor both tell the same thing to me, take care of you first thing. Do
Hmm.
whatever you got to do, whether it's to pray. whether it's to exercise, do whatever
Yeah.
you got to do for a
Yep.
minute, get to,
Hmm.
to deposit for
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah. You have.
because the whole day you're going to be pouring out to everybody else.
Yep. Yeah.
And
You
so
can't
you
get you
have
can't
to
get from an empty
replenish
vessel,
you.
right? Hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's more important, I think, than anything, because everybody, if, especially if you're in a family, especially if you have that type of dynamic, or when you
Right.
got kids and stuff,
Yeah.
everybody needs something.
Hmm.
So you're getting
Hmm.
pulled every which way, you
Right.
know.
Right.
And when you're getting pulled like that, you have no time to, in
Hmm.
some, you sometimes just don't have the time to just check in on yourself.
Definitely.
So like you
Definitely.
said, wake up early before everybody, do
Yeah.
that
Wake up
self-care
like
moment
30 minutes early, 45 minutes early. Wake up. Say a prayer before you get out of bed.
something.
Go do some meditation. Go jump in the shower. You know.
All that stuff. It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. You
Um,
have to. Yeah.
I noticed something where there's a couple of things I did read though that did disturb me, and I wanted to address it with you.
Okay.
So I was reading something where they said alcohol sales on the rise 55%, and that's a lot. And then they
Yeah.
said, the dispensaries. There's a lot of people hitting the dispensaries,
Hmm.
and I'm not knocking anybody what they do. You know what I'm saying? I'll
Yeah.
have me a glass of wine every now and then. I don't smoke weed, but
Yeah.
everybody gonna do what they do. Right on
Yeah.
to it. But if it's going that high in alarming rate, to me, I'm like, okay, what's really going on? Are people
Hmm.
self-medicating?
Yeah.
Because and I'm gonna admit my own business. I
Of
know
course.
for a minute there, when I went through some real difficult times, my thing was to drink a lot. My
Hmm.
thing was
Yeah.
to
Yeah. We talked
to
about that.
numb myself.
Yeah.
It's called that self-medicating, that
Yeah.
self-numbing
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
And with all this going on, so people don't feel, they don't think, they don't want to know, they're gonna drink, they're gonna smoke, they're gonna do things that are more harmful to your body.
Right.
So what would you say to people that are doing that?
Well, for the people that are self medicating, and me and you've had this conversation.
Yeah.
So I'll say to them what I said to you, and that is eventually you'll come down from that high or that state of
Hmm.
intoxication where whatever those negative feelings are, they'll still be there,
Yes.
and you'll have to eventually find a way to deal with those feelings. Now, if you are if you find yourself too high or intoxicated, sleep it off.
Hmm.
Wake up in the morning, don't go back to the bottle or to the joint or to the blunt. Wake up
Right.
in the morning, get your butt in the shower,
Yes.
shower off, so you can think clearly and be prepared to start your day.
Yes.
Now, if you find yourself, or once you find yourself experiencing those negative feelings, you have to find a positive outlet.
Yeah.
So, if you want to journal, you can journal, write your feelings out if you have a notebook, or go find a piece of paper. Get those feelings out some kind of way in a positive manner that will not have you reacting violently or putting you in any type of danger
Hmm.
to yourself
Hmm.
or rendering you to be a danger to anyone else. Then
Right.
you've reached crisis level if you don't do that.
That's true. I talked about that earlier today, where I was saying emotional trauma,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and I think because we as people suppress our feelings, and I don't know, I'm sure, I think men do it too. Nancy says journaling in any circumstance is a wonderful outlet. Yes, it is,
Nancy.
Nancy. I agree. And
Yeah.
I could tell you I got about 10 around here around me right now. But I know for me, personally speaking, um, I hold stuff in. I don't always tell how I feel.
Right.
But I finally got to a point. I said, I'm sick.
Yeah.
People are messing with my emotions
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I've always been the person more concerned about others and how others feel, and not really taking into account about my own self.
Right.
So,
Right.
I'm always concerned about that. Now, I'm not sitting here saying when somebody makes you mad or when somebody
Yeah.
does something, you
Yeah.
just go
Right.
left field with it. I'm not
Right.
saying
Yeah.
that. Don't do
No.
that.
Mhm.
But take into account your own emotions and how
Right.
you feel
Right.
and address it at in the right time because
Right. In the right time.
people,
Right.
yeah,
Not while you're drunk. Not while you're high. Not while you're
right.
intoxicated. Because
Not while you're in time, and
you
not
can't.
even just even you could be sober,
You could be.
and
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
even when you in
Mhm.
that moment.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because
Definitely. Definitely.
I know me. If I'm angry about something, if I address it in that moment and I'm angry enough, I'm liable to cuss you out and call you every single name. But I
Knocking
know that
heads
about
off.
myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you what river to go down, how to get there, where to get off,
Right.
what you can do with
Right.
yourself, and go flip yourself off someplace else. I
Right.
know very well
Yeah.
about you.
Right. And and
You
and and
know.
and that and that's the thing. A lot of we all have people in our circle that we trust.
Yeah,
And there are certain people in our circles who feel like that you're accountable to them when you're really not.
that's true.
The only person that you are accountable to, the only people that you're accountable to is God and yourself. That's it.
That's it.
Because that's all you have at the end of the day. I really hate using that phrase, but for the sake of the conversation, that's the only people that you're accountable to
That's
are
it.
your maker, your creator, and yourself.
That's it.
You
That's
know,
it.
and who's to say that that person will come to bat for you like go to bat for them?
Yeah. And I've had an experience like that where, you know, I recently learned, well, I've been knowing, but it just came to a full head again. Where,
Yeah,
I've had people that I counted on and people I depended on, and they just showed their true colors.
yeah, that's how it
And
goes.
it was just like, okay. And not that I'm upset with them, I still love them.
Right.
I had to forgive them. And that's a hard thing to do, but I did because I
Hmm.
don't want that weight on me.
Hmm.
But then I had to let that go. But then it's like now I got to heal from that. And me healing from it is, I got to take my distance from it.
Yeah, you
So
have to. You have to.
yeah, because if
And
you
what?
hold that, I know me. Like I said, I'm easy. If I hold it,
Yeah,
it becomes that trauma again, and then
yeah,
you're going
yeah.
back to doing
You
stupid
start to
stuff again.
re-experience it. Yeah.
And it's like this is not what I need to do. I need to be focused. I need my
Right.
head cleared. I
Yeah.
need to be able to go do this and do that, or whatever the case may be. And even with that, like I noticed another article I was reading, they were talking about domestic violence on the rise
Hmm.
with people in isolation now. And you can elaborate. I was
Right.
reading that domestic violence, I don't know about other cultures. So this is me on a culture perspective for just
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
moment.
Definitely. Definitely.
But I know usually as African American people, we
Hmm.
think domestic violence is just when you get pounded somebody in the face.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just us as African Americans. I don't know if that's in general. I don't know whatever that may be. But from my own experience in dealing with Black people on my own,
Right.
usually that's what we generally think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's more than that.
Right.
And I read just even like I touched on it earlier, domestic violence can be emotional, it
Yeah.
could be
Definitely.
psychological,
Yep.
it's all of that. It's a
Hmm.
whole lot more things.
Yeah.
And there are people, men and women alike, and even
Right.
kids that are
Yeah.
dealing with that because and on a consistent basis.
Right.
So
Right.
what would you say, even in the quarantine? What would you say to those people? They can't necessarily go to a shelter because shelters aren't
Hmm.
taking people, or they
Hmm.
overran right now,
Right.
or
Exactly. Yeah.
um, just all kinds of stuff is going on with that. What would you say
Hmm.
or suggest for people?
For anyone who is in a domestic violence situation, be it a man or woman, find a person who you can trust or who you trust, a family member, a close friend. Develop some type of safety plan,
Hmm.
and that may be a little bit tough.
Yeah,
But definitely try to develop. some type of safety plan for you to get out of the situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you are in a domestic violence, if you've been exposed or been a victim of domestic violence and you are in treatment or in therapy, contact your therapist.
Please. Yeah.
Or they can even contact the number to the pet team. The number that I gave you, they can use that number too, or call 911. Let them know that you're in crisis. Let
Okay.
them know that let them know that you don't feel safe. Let them know the specifics of the situation. Uh, let them know who the perpetrator is, and let them know who you are as being the victim.
Okay.
Um, if worse comes to worse, if anybody sees this, they can inbox me,
Okay.
and we can figure some stuff out.
Inbox me too. If you got, I put
Inbox
my
me or
number out
inbox
there.
or inbox Jay, and
Hey.
we'll figure some stuff out because
Yep.
people that are in domestic, I'll say this: perpetrators who live with their victims are now using quarantine as an
Hmm.
excuse to continue to inflict punishment on their victim.
That is scary. Oh, my stomach just turned when you said that. That's scary. I'm
It's
serious. That's scary
yeah,
because
yeah.
I can just.
It's very scary, and
Mm,
the fact that we're in quarantine just makes the domestic violence more of a volatile situation. So I'm in constant contact with a few people that I check on regularly, just
mm-hmm.
to see how they're doing because I know the nature of certain situations that they're in. Some
Yeah.
feel some feel safe, some don't. You know, so
Yeah.
I'm helping them, or you checking on them to make sure that they have what they need. If they need to leave, then they make sure that they have what they need to leave if it comes to that.
It comes
You
to
know what I
yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
the rise of domestic violence is very scary during this time, and very concerning during this time of quarantine.
Yeah. Yeah. You would think that if I'm home, I'm safe.
Right? Yep. Right.
That's
But like,
that's the place
yeah,
you
that's
were
it.
told
Right.
safer,
Right.
safer
Right.
at home. That's the name of this whole
Right.
entire
And
thing.
that
Is safer at home.
may
But
not
there's no such
necessarily it
thing.
may not necessarily be the case for anybody, be it a man or a woman or child,
Yeah,
in a domestic violence situation, or being
that's true.
physically or sexually abused, or emotionally abused for that matter.
That's true. That's true. It's a whole um oh no, I don't want that on. I'm sorry. It's a whole it's a whole nother world for them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep. Yep.
their escape was when they left. Their escape was when they went to work or they went to school or they went
Yep.
here. They went.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
may have been their only moments of
Right.
escape.
Right.
Even if
Right.
it
Right.
really
Right.
wasn't, because sometimes you still get those phone calls. That person may be
Yeah.
calling you, whatever.
Yeah.
It may have been those moments like they may, if
Yeah.
they were lucky. And I'm
Right.
literally saying, if you were lucky, you had
Right.
those
Right.
brief
Right. And
moments to breathe.
right. And who's to say that during the time where we weren't in quarantine, where they weren't necessarily taking, they may have been taking those steps to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
But now with the quarantine and COVID-19, you're being pulled right back in to where you have no choice but to stay.
Hmm. Now that's even scarier.
Whole game, right?
That's a very cold game.
Yeah.
And you will wish, I'm hoping, and if, and honestly, and I know Jerron serious is on my, if anybody,
Anybody.
and I'm really serious, I'm telling you
Anybody.
from my own personal experience, I have experienced that. It was not fun. And I know there's some people like, Janine, you crazy. You didn't go through that. Yeah, I did. Because the same man that's here on the phone was the first one, he was checking on me like crazy.
Yep.
He
Yep.
was making sure I was okay.
Mhm. Yep.
And as sweet as Duran is, Duran, yeah, he made sure his cousin was okay. But
Mhm. Yeah.
uh,
So like we
scared to
say,
reach out.
if anybody that sees this, and you're in a volatile situation to where you feel unsafe and you feel the need to seek some help, you can inbox us and we'll figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his information's there, my information's there. Email us, call, whatever works, do it
Yep. Yep.
because we
Yep.
are here. Well, Jerron, thank you.
Of course.
I'm glad that that was. I hope that was. I hope a lot of information for people. I know we may not have touched on things, but if you guys have additional questions, if
Hmm.
there's some additional things that are going on in your mind, address it. I know Jerron's open to. If you're open to it, Jerron, we could do this again.
Yep.
If there's a lot of questions that people
Yeah.
send that we
Yeah.
may
Yeah.
not be able to answer,
We can do today. What's today?
today is Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday. Okay, so let's do this. Anybody that sees this or anybody that follows the corner with Miss Janine, um, you if you guys have questions, you guys we'll leave our emails in the comment section, and you guys can email us your questions, and we'll address your questions maybe next Thursday, or we'll figure out a day next week
That sounds like a plan.
to address those questions.
Yes.
I'll make sure that I'm in the house to to uh to go live. I'm actually sitting in my car right now
Okay.
doing this, but yeah. We'll
Okay.
take questions for the rest of the week from today up until like next Thursday
Yeah,
morning or whatever,
that
and
sounds good.
we'll figure out a day and a time to address those questions because people need help,
They do.
people need
And
support,
they
and
really do.
it's the toughest. One of the toughest things to do is ask for help when you're at the end of your rope and don't have any choice. And I've been there, and
Yes,
it's not
that's I
and
raised my hand.
it's not
Guilty
fun.
is charged. May I
Yeah,
readdress it? Nancy wanted to address an earlier subject.
sure.
Um, Nancy
What is
says,
check with?
may I readdress an earlier subject about our elders? Just saying,
Mhm.
please write them a card or letter. Even
Yes,
have your child
yes,
color them a picture.
yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
you're
Yes,
right, because
yes,
those
yes.
things are important. Nancy, I have I was part of a workout group, and one of the guys that, he befriended me on my personal page, and we kind of just encourage each other. But I know he's getting married, and his fiance just had a baby,
That's dope.
and the baby can't see her grandma right now
Oh,
because of COVID-19.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they're FaceTiming each
Yep.
other.
Yeah,
They're
FaceTime.
seeing each
That's
other
good.
in pictures. I have an aunt who doesn't live too far from me. You know, I'm glad that somebody stays with her and is able to
Yeah,
take care of
that's
her.
good. That's
But,
good. That's good.
I call her at least once a week, like, okay, Auntie, I'm doing my check-in. You good? I got my other aunt who's out of the country right now, and I'm checking in with her. I
Yeah,
have
that's
family,
good.
I try to check in with my family, because I do have older people than me. My mom and
Hmm.
dad are gone now, but I'm checking in with my folks, like, y'all
Yeah, me
good?
too. Me too.
We straight.
I'm gonna go call my grandma as soon as I get in the house.
You better call your grandma
I
because I'm not
man,
gonna deal with
I
that
call
problem.
my
That's
grandma.
gonna
I
be
call
on
my
you.
grandma at least twice a week, 3 times a
Good,
week,
good
just
grandson.
to see how she's doing, so she can talk to me and talk to the kids. 'Cause
Good,
they
good.
love talking to their nana. So yeah,
Yeah, and that's important.
please check on your elders. If your parents are still living, check on them.
Yeah,
You know, and see how they're doing. I feel bad because I can't get to my parents.
I
You know
know.
what I mean. So I check on them and call them at least 3 times a week just to see how they're doing.
Yeah,
But if it go down, something go down. Hey, you
I already know. You ain't even
know
gotta
what I
tell
mean?
me.
So
I'm related to you, so I already
yeah,
know.
so you already know something go down. I'm on the next thing smoking
I know. I
to the
know.
city.
So
So
you ain't gotta
yeah,
tell me. Just text me, Janine. Something going on with mom and dad.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah, yep,
you already know. I got 4 wheels and gas.
yeah, yeah,
Shock your parents and mail them a letter. You know what? And guess what, Nancy? I really thought about that because that's so funny you said that. I had thought about just sitting and making Amari start writing letters like we did as a kid
yeah,
before we had. Let me
yep,
let me take some
yep.
people back.
I may
Before there
do
was email, before
yeah.
we had cell
Yeah,
phones, before there was
I may have
internet.
the kids write their nana a letter. Yep, definitely.
Yes,
I'll probably do
take
that
those
too.
times. I used to
Yep.
do that, and I used to sit
Mhm.
there and write letters to my cousins and my grandpa and my
Yeah.
uncles and all of them. and
Yeah.
we would send letters back and forth that way. And we call it snail mail, but those are very intimate. Those are
Very
very
intimate, very
personal. People
personal.
hug
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
It is therapeutic. It is therapeutic because you tell them all your business stuff.
Right.
Ah, but it is therapeutic. It's
And they
amazing
write
how
you
you
back
get
and talk
stuff
to
from
you
your
crazy
heart to a
because of what you
paper.
told them.
Huh?
I said, then they write you back and talk to you crazy because of what you told them.
Oh my goodness. I think one of the best things that and I'm gonna let you go in a little bit, but like my grandmother,
Yeah.
my grandma Campbell,
Yeah.
when she went to
Man, I
Texas for
miss
my
her.
grandfather's
Ooh.
funeral,
Yeah.
she got to see all her grandkids. She got
Mm,
to see all these
yeah. I
people
remember that.
she
Yep.
before, remember?
Yeah. I
And
remember that.
so
Yeah.
she got everybody's address.
Yeah.
And she wrote each and every last one of them a letter. And right when they all got it right around the time she passed away.
That's cool. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's like they got their final light and they were like, she just says such wonderful words. So it's like on paper, they have
Yeah.
something they
And
can
you
hold
have it
on dear and
forever. Yeah.
treats them.
Yeah. You have it and you cherish it. Yep. Definitely.
Yes, yes. So it's really, really awesome. I know somebody's calling me, but I'm gonna have to call y'all back in a minute. Anybody trying to reach me regarding this, you're gonna have to send me
It should
a
have told
text
them to the
message or
line.
something. Yeah, I'm not gonna take calls right now, but you can either inbox me or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's a good question. You are absolutely right, Nancy. Thank you so much,
Mm-hmm.
Nancy. Thank you. I appreciate it, Jerron. Thank you. We'll definitely answer questions. Anybody
Definitely.
needs help,
Definitely.
inbox us, contact us.
Yep.
Also, I posted earlier, but if you guys know elderly people that need food, Charlotte White.
Yeah.
Charlotte is like
Yeah.
a cousin to me. I love her. She has such a beautiful
That's
soul
really
about
cool.
her. I posted it earlier. They are out there giving food away, delivering food, delivering meals to people if they can't get out. They're even adopting grandparents. She has a whole
That's love.
mission thing going on.
That's
So if you
wonderful.
can't, if you got to inbox me and I gotta send a message to her,
Yeah.
let's get all
Mm-hmm.
this out there. Let's be a help
Mm-hmm.
to one
Mm-hmm.
another. It is so important. And I'm gonna be real honest here. Let's not stop this
Right.
before
Let's
it's
continue it.
over
Right. Right. Right.
because
Right. Right.
this is and I'm saying that with all seriousness because it's like I think even just with something big that happened with 9/11, 9/11, I feel like we were seeing kumbaya, we are one accord and all that other stuff, and then everything flipped, just changed again. It's like why are we here? What happened
Right.
back, when we was all holding hands and saying we loved each other? Let's stick to it this
Continue it.
time.
Right. Right. Pay
Keep
it forward
checking
should
on each
definitely be
other.
a lifestyle. Right.
Absolutely. All right, Jay, I'm gonna let you go. I
All right,
love
Jay.
you and
I
everybody
love
who
you
joined
more.
us. Thank you.
All right.
And
Of
I will
course.
be talking with y'all. Huh?
No, I was just saying, of course, I love you too, and it was a pleasure to do this. I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did, and definitely we're gonna do it again. I'll keep in
Yeah.
touch with you. I'll
Yeah.
let you know.
Okay. Cool.
All right, talk with you
All right.
soon.
Give my boy a big hug.
I will give my
Okay.
babies a hug and give my girl a kiss and give her a hug for me
I
too. Tell
sure
her I'm gonna
will.
holler
I
at her
sure will.
soon.
You're.
And I'm proud of her. She's doing
Yeah. Yep.
go
All
ahead,
right.
girl. All
Yeah.
right.
All right. Love
Okay.
you.
Love you too.
Peace.
Bye.